whether or not to do another live today. My son, after getting home from school, he's sleeping and whatnot now, but the longer days are taking a toll on him. But obviously, it's been a interesting day outside of crypto. Some of you are probably watching the news, and we'll get into it in a little bit once we get more people in here and we get into our little talk here. John Bugathorpe, thank you so much for not only being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge, but also for sending a $5 donation. It says, "Hi Tom, you say you're not a wizard. To me you are. But what's your best guess as to what XDC ALGO IOTA will do this alt season, even DGB 25 cents?" I'm not talking much about DGB anymore because I lost my faith in it with things that have happened and just some of the things that going deeper and deeper. So that's for somebody else to decide. Like, I don't know the exact numbers. I don't make predictions based on an alt season or things like that. It's just what the charts will show me. And like with XRP, before this cycle started, it was speaking to me in a certain way. And like for me, a realistic target would be 36 cents. And some will say, well, that's not enough, Tom. But I think that's a realistic target. I think 36 cents, and then it's going to take time, but I believe overall it's going to be well over $1. But I think from this pattern setup, I think a realistic target, if this played out properly, should be around 36 cents. Now, do I think it can go much higher? You better fucking believe it. But in this particular setup, I believe it yields that 36 cent mark once it finishes this entirety of this, and then it's going to go farther. But that's a realistic target. If you're accumulating under 10 cents, that's what should be aiming for, somewhere around that 36 cent area, if you're playing it in totality. Now, this could take a very long time, however, but if you're playing this properly, I would argue, let's see, could go from here to here. So I mean, it could take a long time, but that's just how it's set up from, 22, 21, and so on and so forth. But yeah, I think that's a realistic area to look at. But it's who knows how long. And I'm not a financial advisor, and this is for entertainment purposes only. So take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. You have to make up your own decision. But obviously, before we go any farther, I know a lot of you seen what happened to Charlie Kirk today. Very outspoken person when it comes to a lot of different things that we don't cover in this community because of obvious reasons. But he passed away today because he was shot in Utah. Ironically, at the exact spot when they talked about guns and other things. And it was quite the graphic scene. So condolences to his wife and kids. He was only 31 years old, so take a moment right now and pray to God, pray to your higher power, and just thank the Lord that you're here right now with us in this community, because you never know. I know there's members of my audience that are in their 70s, 80s. Would you expect to outlive 31-year-old Charlie Kirk? Because you just never know when your time is up. You just never know. So it's always been a reason why I stay close to my house. I don't like to travel. I don't like to go outside of my radius. And most of the time I stay within a literal 1.5 mile radius unless I'm forced outside of it. And it's for reasons like what happened to Mr. Kirk, because it's a tragedy. But when you're out in the public light, you're out at events for a year and a hot topic. The thing that gets me is this all happened at the exact same timing. So that's obviously what the narrative is now. Everybody's going to be talking about it, rightfully so. But today, in Poland, you had several governments get together, and there was a downed UFO in Poland that they're discussing, and also this object that's moving towards the Earth that's supposed to hit the Earth on December 17th, 2025, which happens to be my 42nd birthday. And I just think it looks a lot like a blue beam. You catch my drift. Some of you have projects in school, and they might have called, you might have also Just put it together. Put a few nice words together that I can't say in a row, otherwise we could have problems. But I'll just say it's going to be beaming blue soon. Maybe you should look a little deeper into that. Don't forget the project at school. But yeah, we're in a very uncomfortable time in human history. And what a time to be alive indeed. But at the same time, I say it every single day. Doesn't matter how old or young you are. If you're in your 20s watching me and you're looking at me in my 40s saying, you know, I got a lot more time than he does, you just never know. You just never know. Like, my grandpa's almost 91 now, and, you know, he's outlived another person, and it's a tragedy, but that's why you kind of have to, that's why the power of positivity, the power of a positive message, staying away from the hot topic, and trying to push positivity, trying to create for the greater good in a different way. Like, I'm not coming on here politically. I'd rather come on here financially and look to see what we can do, because we're all struggling. Like, I do okay trading and doing some stuff, but the bottom line is my son is a special needs and it costs a lot of money. Julie hasn't been able to work since 2020 with her accident, and she's had 8 surgeries, so she's out of commission. They never gave her disability for her injuries or let her collect, so, you know, it's been a struggle. But we do okay. You know, we do okay. But there's been obvious opportunities for me to expand this into a much deeper platform. And I just will always refuse it. I'll always refuse it. We're going to stay a solo entity, and I'll stay a small timer. Maybe we get to 100,000 if we're lucky. But, you know, there's no easy way through. And it's like I've said once, I've said twice, I've said 5 and 10 times. When you're favored by God, you're also favored by the devil. So moving on. Good evening. 6:23 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Wednesday, September 10th. 2025. I'm XRP future millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. We're one day away from a day that'll live in infamy in the USA. 24 years ago, forever changed our freedoms in the USA, and 95% of the USA citizens still don't have a damn clue of what actually happened. Not an iota of truth. But let's not speak neither here nor there. Dan Marginal, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for your second month with the Dusty Dados Crypto News. Yes, indeed, prayers for Charlie's family. Indeed. We ask our Lord and Savior for guidance. You know, because we don't know what's going on beneath. We can only see what's on the outside. But we'll have faith in our higher power. Eddie Lance, welcome in. Brian Crow, good evening. UK Phil, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. David Hoff, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for for your first month with the emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens. Syrian, good evening, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge, and also a very trusted mod. I really, really appreciate that greatly. Poppy Lou, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for 6+ months with the XP Meteor. 3+ months with the XP Meteor. Manadoke, good evening. Joseph Gurdrio, welcome in. Areli, Jordan, welcome. Shane, good evening, Shane, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for your second month with the Dusty Dados Crypto News. Frankie Fresh, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 6 months with the XP Predictor. And a special shout out and love to Janine. So blessed to have you in the audience with Frankie Fresh. You're very influential in how I do things. And why I'm so consistent. It's fine humans like the two of you. Florida Attorney, welcome in. Yeah, we're going to have to fire up something, it seems, this evening. I don't have moon rocks, but I have something. William, welcome in, and thanks for being a very trusted member of this community. Me and William go back several years. It's a testament of time. We didn't always see eye to eye, but we're both better people than we were in 21 or 22, and he's just a blessing from the soul. So welcome in, IQ. Mosey here, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. Mr. Popcorn Bud, welcome in and thanks for being in Tom's Army for your second month with the Dusty Dotto's Crypto News. David Hoff, welcome in. Thanks for being in Tom's Army for your first month with the emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens. Sorry everybody who's leaving, but I just wanted to get through a few things. So if you already left, I'm obviously not worth it, so that's okay though. I'm not worth it to everybody, but the ones I am worth it to, it's worth it to me. Brian Crow, yes, makes us all sick indeed. Well, some of us. I've seen some not so pretty things said. Let's just leave it at that. Red Sea Dragon, welcome in and thanks for being in Tom's Army for your first month with the emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens. That was one of his largest supporting crowds, and that coward shot him in front of all the children. Indeed. I mean, you can't even say it's one of those things. Oh man. We had a 14-year-old boy rest in peace today, less than a mile. Oh man. Say a prayer for his guidance as well. Amen. Like that. There's so much stuff just. It's a lot bigger than what it looks like right now, unfortunately. LMV welcome. MVP welcome and says, I appreciate your pure honesty, respect. Thank you for all you do, sir. Oh, you're welcome. I'll continue to be honest. You know, like I said, my audience will grow the way it's supposed to. Like I always tell everybody, and we'll have the right people here. Once we get into the charts, you'll see it'll bust over 100 people, and then people will leave once I get off the chart. It's a weird thing. Trading with J-Ride, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 3 years with the XRB Diamond Hands Badge and J-Ride. Did you see B2 Gold today? We're up to $4.34, my friend. It's unbelievable. I shouted you out this morning. I don't know if you were in the live this morning, but I seen it. I'm like, man, he's probably like, oh my God. But look at this, J-Ride. And I know you know the pricing. Remember when Barrett was at 15? Now it's at 29. Remember when First Majestic dropped to 450? Now it's at 943. Like Pan America dropped to 18. Now it's at 36. Hecla Mining was down to 542 like a month and a half ago. It's at $10.97. It's unbelievable. Silver Corp's almost up to $5 now. Fortuna's closing in on 8. Gold's at $3,639. Silver's at $41 plus. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. True, welcome in, homie. I'm so glad to see you in here. One of our very, very, very intelligent members who understand the charts at a fairly deep level. Helped us guide ourselves through before this last bull run with XRP was phenomenal. One of the few who actually would support me when I was saying buy before that breakout, going back to 23. Miss G Stott, welcome in. I'm blessed to have you in here as well in your second month with the Dusty Dotto's Crypto News. You're amazing. Incredible audience we have here. Anthony Venegas, welcome in. Bearded Viking, good evening, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for your second month with Dusty Dotto's Crypto News. Says sending prayers to everyone affected by today's events. I'm praying for the country and the unity. I have a very bad feeling. Like I've been preparing for something for a long time, and just all I ever tell everybody now is just appreciate the days as they are. Remember what happened in 2020? Remember how we were just appreciating things as they were, and then they weren't anymore? One day you were able to go outside. The next day it was 2 years locked inside. What's coming next is on a different scale, and it's not. I don't know if we would still have communication. We probably would. Because they're going to need to keep us in line in a certain way, so we'll probably explode in that time. Because everybody will be back at home, but I'm not looking forward to it. Didn't anybody ever notice how all their schools, elementary, high schools, junior highs, are all closing down in your cities, and they're moving them into the same parking lot now? Elementary, middle school, high school, all in the same spot, just separated by walls. There's nothing connecting the buildings. It happened in my little town here too. It's happening everywhere. So I mean, we can see serious changes starting to happen. Opinion on Epic, it's hardcore, Shane. I haven't been touting it for no reason. Epic is going to make a game changer, but the problem is game changers also, they need to rework what they're doing. So it bounced out of here so quickly that I don't know where this consolidation goes. I've said it and I'll say it again, like this technically needs the back test down here. So if you extend it out, if it comes down here, Shane, if it ends up somewhere down here, I'm gonna be buying it. I have a very strong belief in it, but I don't have a belief in things when they're not in my area. I look for opportunity. I'm not looking to get buried. So I'm just like I drew it out there. I was waiting if it came down, but I circled it because if it held there, that was a huge opportunity to ride it back to resistance that we didn't know what it would be, but we know it now. So even if you look at it from a channel perspective, it's interesting, but I'm very much a fan of it. It's it's not just that it's a real world asset. Epic, not only is it got an investment from Ripple themselves that believe in this, but on the XRP ledger, right? We're bringing real world assets to the XRP ledger. Well, Epic is the blockchain that actually connects corporations, even retail to a sense, but banking, institutional, retail, business, all of it. And they'll allow you to trade in real time, real world assets on the blockchains. That's a innovator. And there's only 30 million tokens, absolutely. So I think it's going to be a big one, but there's going to be a lot of people that have to be liquidity for it to make that move. So would it surprise me if it just dived down here and came all the way back down? No, it wouldn't. But already we're massively oversold in the daily, but the weekly tells a slightly different story. I mean, it does. Weekly's just coming back into a bearish state. So I'm going to wait. I'm going to be patient. I'm going to see what it has to do here. But this one in time, I think could be one of those 20, 30, 40. You don't know. But just in the pattern it's set up, let's just say for whatever reason it came back down here. Or let's just say it comes back down because if I'm being honest, that is a breakdown that could happen. But what I'm looking for first layer is that $1.59. And the reason why is because I'm looking at a layer where it never cleared back. And maybe, just maybe, we can bounce off of where's this at? Just a little bit lower than where we were at. But then if you want to talk about the breakout in the most recent time, we never came back. So it's just, I don't know. I don't know where the exact moment's going to be for this exact springboard all the way out. But when it happens, this isn't going to be a 2, 3, 4, 5. I think this could be those, hey, we're going to hang out at the $15, $20, $25 range, maybe more. But right now, we were in Discovery, and generally after Discovery, you have a very big pullback. No, I understand not wanting to miss it. When I do things now, I don't worry about missing something. I have a setup, and if it does what I think should happen, I'm all for it. Like, look what's happening right now in the market. We're just seeing pissing matches. Goes up 5%, comes down 5%, goes up 3%, goes down 7%, comes up 9%, goes down 11%, goes up 4%, comes down 7%. It's just a pissing match right now. This is where traders are going to get burned. Accumulators, if you do it the right way, are going to be very happy. What comes, after, we just don't know if it's going to be during the rate cuts. My best guess is we'll follow trajectory into mid-November like we normally do before a parabolic spike. But because of the rate cuts, that puts in a variable and a wedge into this. And if let's just say we get 75 to 100 basis points, that's going to rocket up, at least initially, risk assets. And that should be good for crypto. Now, if we see 25 basis points, get your umbrellas out. It's going to be a rainy day. I'm telling you right now, if you see 25 basis points, you might as well just duck and cover. Remember the old drill they taught us in school to cover our heads in an earthquake under our desk? You're going to need to get some stable shelter because it's going to be a rainy day. Oh yeah, it's going to be a rainy day. Yeah, there's many, many good projects, Shane. There's no shortage of good utility tokens. It's just what your personal beliefs. There's nothing wrong with that constellation. I've been a fan of it for years. It's just it's not as easy to get your hands on. Um, but you know, I we're stuck in this like you guys are all seeing. We're seeing the same up and down, left and right, side to side. Let's wipe it out. It's always with crypto until we're ready. We're not ready. That's why XRP can't get above 306 right now, and it's on the hindrance of are we breaking out? Are we oversold because we are overbought right now in some aspects? Some aspects, you know, we're oversold, trying to push out, but almost looking like a bear flag setup in stochastic. Golden cross in the 4-hourly, which is the 20-day moving average coming through the 200, but that 50-day is so far down it hasn't even crossed the 100. Almost feels premature. There's no volume to support this breakout, which will always be a scary proposition. And we haven't back tested. Like, we haven't back tested. Like, that's another thing. Would we come to 289? Or, I mean, would we come down farther? Because that's that zone. Would we come to 280? I mean, we've never back tested it. It looks like a little head and shoulders here developing, possibly. And in my title, some might say, oh, well, fuck this guy. I'm not watching. I said in my title, XRP time to buy was before November of 2024. However, ALGO, IOTA, XDC, and more yet to make their move. Doesn't mean XRP is not going to make another move. It just means the time to buy XRP was what I said, before November of 24, in my opinion. Sure, you can buy it now for $3, but, you know, you're paying, what is it, 90 cents on the dollar compared to what we should be paying. So, and the reason I say that is because you're going to get in a lot of trouble trying to ride XRP to $5.49, $6, especially if it has to fall through and come back to 189. While there's many other opportunities where you can watch out here where they haven't done this yet. Like Algo still has not rounded around at all. It's still stuck in this if you go farther back. It has not rounded. It's been stuck in this consolidation for eons. Remember how XRP started in its pattern? Algo has started. Oh, it's huge when you start to see how far it actually goes back. 2019. But we have to do this in a way. I don't know why it's like that, but. Okay, perfect. I wanted you to be able to see. I forgot that I put this here. So, this goes all the way back to 2019. You wonder why I'm consolidating into it so much. I have over 40,000 tokens. I'm going to feast. I'm going to feast. I'm going to feast until the feasting is over. So my next feast party would be we get a breakdown and we start tossing the 17-cent area. And then I really feast if we go down to 9.7 cents. Oh, when I say, oh man, I don't know what would happen. I may up it to 100,000 if we, maybe more. But, you know, I don't see a lot of conviction that we're ready to just break out unabated. If we do, obviously I'll be the happiest person in the world. I've got a lot of tokens. But I still see like it feels early. Feels early. The weekly makes me feel early. But at the same time, we haven't done anything yet with Algo. And it's very much stuck in this. This pattern is meant to apex in June of 2026. So it's calling. 7 years. A 7-year consolidation is calling. Wait a minute. Which other one had a set? Oh, XRP took 7 years. Oh. Interesting. Interesting. So when you start to think of what I'm trying to accomplish on this cycle, emulate. Already done. What we had already 7 years. 7 years. Now did this just, is this by some miracle that Algo's in the same 7-year consolidation prior to the breakup? No. It's not. Is it a coincidence? No. got similar utility. It sure is a sad day, Nick. Yes and no for Quant. Yes and no for Quant. It is in the discussion. It absolutely is in the discussion. It's just the pricing for me right now is a little bit different. Like I said, I missed it, and that's nobody else's fault but mine at 47. Especially when it came back down here to 55. It's my own fault. But yeah, this is definitely one that needs to be in that discussion, because when it does break this, short term is going to get us up to 317 roughly. If we do make this out, we've talked about this before with Quant, we can forward project. Let's just say Quant, you know, it came through, it's coming through. And eventually it fills out, it comes up here. Then maybe it back test, right? And then maybe we'll hook. But if you look at this, really be like, okay, Tom, what happens if you forward project a cup, right? So we come up to where these would meet, and obviously it's at the other side. We'll be generous, but not too generous. And we'll say the cup is approved up here. And then we just give ourselves an honorable target. Not anything out of the ordinary. Just if we create an all-time cup, that handle ends up forming, you're looking at the $700 range. This sounds like a lot, but, you know, and it is. It's a 7x move from here. But that's no different than XRP, what it's already done. And I think this would be a great, you know, 65's phenomenal, Shane. Phenomenal. Seriously, that's phenomenal. $65 is a life-changing, probably a life-changing buy-in for Quant. Could we get a better opportunity? If we do, it won't be by much. The floor right now is about 55 bucks. Even if it were to drop down. I'm not convinced it's going to do that many more times. Yeah, the only good thing is in the weekly, the moving average, the MACD, moving average convergence, divergence has flipped red. However, the weekly is in a rather oversold state. The monthly is rather overbought. So, am I counting my stars that it's never going to happen again? Oh no, quite the contrary. But I've talked to myself about this, and I said if it gets to $50 or $55, what are you willing to buy? And I said, you know, $50 is quite expensive, but I'd say at least buy 5 Quant at 50, 55, buy about $2,600 worth is what I'm looking at. You know, and then if it does run from 50, 55 up to 700, you know, you're talking about right around a 14x. So you're talking about $2,600 returning to well over 30. So you do that with a few of them, like we did with XRP, how we turned 3,500 into 30 grand. Well, it was more, but now it's around 30. You start doing that with a couple of them, look how quickly your portfolio builds. Some don't remember, we were buying ALGO at 9.7 cents. We were buying HBAR at 5 cents. You know, we were buying a lot of these way, way, way down. But we're nowhere near what we're getting. I guess some people don't like to hear the real information. What, Quant really offends 20 people to leave right now? It's unbelievable. I tell you what, I try to teach people, but people just leave. I can't imagine. I give you guys grace, though, because you just don't know. You just don't know. You just don't get it. We're going to smoke our relaxation together. I'm going to put this together. It's been a half hour. A quarter of the audience left when I was showing Quant and the other things, the real information. So I'll give you 75% of my attention for a minute. Hold on, I'm almost done. I'm sorry. I apologize. Alrighty then. Alright, I am back. We're gonna relax together. It's been one of those days. It's one of those days that puts the world in perspective, right? Alright. How important do I think Avalanche is G-Stock? Pretty important. I'm a fan of AVAX. I've owned it a lot in the past. I even owned it for a stretch in 25, if you remember. But with all the market turns, I got out after a pretty significant move. I don't even know where it's at now. But I do like Avalanche. I do. I'm a fan of it. Let's see. Let's see where it's at right now. Yeah, it's had some nice movement. It's still very undervalued. Massively undervalued still. It's crazy. I remember in 22 when it was way 100 and something bucks. I mean, I never, like, I knew a lot of things were going to come down, but you wouldn't think you'd see the day where this is sitting way down here still. Let's see. Another one of them that I am mad that I didn't buy. Yeah, 720 million. One of them that I'm mad that I never bought back was ABE. I wrote it for like quite some time in the past and waited for a huge dump down, and it happened. I was talking about it. It actually hit that moment. I was like, oh. Stop paying attention to it. Monthly, though, looking like a nice reversal here. That's for sure. We'll see if it's time, but the monthly's starting to work in its favor. It was massively oversold, so its time could be starting here soon. That's going to work its way. I mean, there's a lot of opportunity there. There's no doubt about it. Up 12.5% today, too, so. A lot of opportunities. There's a lot of opportunity out here. John says, Tom, if ALGO's Apex is likely June 2026, do the chart show us the same for IOTA? Yes. Very similar. Great question, John. Great question. Absolutely. The only difference with IOTA is where that meeting point actually hits. And IOTA, depending on how you look at it, because of how crazy that wick was, it could technically bring you all the way out to like 2028. So, you know, it's all about the way we look at this, though. Here, let's take a different approach here. Let me get rid of all this noise. Let's get rid of all this junk. Honestly, it'd probably be easier to look at my other chart. So the apex, if you look at it like this, yeah, 28, man. 28 for IOTA, it shows that apex. That doesn't mean it's going to take until 28. That's just if we stay in here that whole time. However, if we look at it like this, and you know, there are cases to be made if we go, let me try something here, because I think, This is going to make for a very compelling case here. Straight up, this is going to make for a very compelling case in a minute. We might be, the fact that we're almost on borrowed time here, in a sense. So if you take this chart like that in a monthly, oh man. Look at that. That makes you feel like we're close. Look at this. We'd be overextended on this pattern now. You'd be looking at it like, oh, it's just a matter of time now. I mean, is that fair? It looks pretty fucking fair, honestly. Jesus Lord. It's interesting how you look at these. But eventually, these are absolutely eventually going to come out. I don't know when. I don't know what the reasoning is, but it seems like we're on borrowed time on some of these. There's no freaking doubt about that. And this started, look at, this started, think about this, 2017 in December. In the apex point, let's make the right apex, because this is important now. Let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of this. Let's see the real apex. Because it actually rode right through here. Because that's the weekly. So you had support. It actually should be right here with an overzealous move through, I think. Yeah, I agree with that so much. So December of 2007, at the apex area around July. And now we're kind of in limbo. I mean, come back down to 13 cents if you want to hit that support farther out. Or, fuck me, that is actually... See? It's compelling. I don't know if I would say $4 in mid 26. I don't know how long this is going to take. At some point, this is going to... My belief is IOTA is going to end up at $10 at some point. Now, do I know when? No. Could it take 10 years? Maybe. But I do believe it's going to end up in that range at some point. Now... I'm not predicting it, but that's what the charts say is a possibility. But, what else do I want to talk about? I'm going to end this in a couple minutes. My son is sleeping, and I don't want to keep talking more than I have to. I want him to rest comfortably, at least, you know. He's still getting over a little sickness. Bitcoin right now is trying to figure out new breaking down out of this rising wedge. So is Ethereum. And right now Ethereum is trying to make sure it doesn't lose this little channel it's formed with this little uptrend. Because if it does, we're going to end up in that falling channel path. And then even if it continues around, I mean, it could come down to 4,000. If it can get out of this little falling channel, then it could push itself up to almost 5,000 and try to push up towards that rising wedge. There's just simply no strength right now. None. I don't know what's gonna compel us to move. So I fully anticipate this to break down still. Even if we have an artificial, I really want us to have a sell the rumor, buy the news event. Like everybody sells out right before rate cuts. And then we get a phenomenal rate cut. And then we have a pump on the news. I don't want this pumping into rate cuts and then you sell the news. So that's where we're at. I love all of you. I'm XRP Future Millionaire. I'm going to go do some family stuff. This was the second live of the day. As you can hear, I'm a little congested. My throat's a little sore. Getting over it. But time to rest the old windpipes. 114.7 is where we thought we've come close. If we get above that, then we could push 121 for Bitcoin. And so on and so forth. But anything shy of getting over those numbers, especially 114.7, could start us on a direct path down. First area would be around that 106,800 liquidity zone. And then you've got 102, 98, 91,495 approximately in that FVG area. And then the technical target right now is around 81,500 from that rising wedge. Be blessed.